The U.S. is the world's biggest arms dealer. American defense companies racked up $81 billion in new foreign military sales in 2023, a more than 50% increase from the previous year. And these two countries just spent $30 billion on U.S. arms. The deals were a trio of sales worth about $30 billion for attack and transport helicopters and long-range missile launchers. The countries making the purchases were Poland and Germany, as European NATO members rushed to stock up on state-of-the-art weapons in the wake of the ongoing Russia and Ukraine conflict. With these sorts of purchases on top of the arms being sent directly to Ukraine, it's easy to see not only how the U.S. is the world's biggest arms dealer, but also why the military-industrial complex is so profitable and intertwined into U.S. politics. On top of this, other European countries are also purchasing U.S. arms in the wake of the conflict. The Czech Republic has struck a deal for F-35 aircraft and ammunition worth $5.6 billion. Bulgaria is ordering $1.5 billion worth of Stryker vehicles. And Norway is buying a $1 billion MH-60R multi-mission helicopter package. The increased importance Europe has placed on obtaining the latest American weaponry was on display recently when NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg visited Lockheed Martin's missile plant in Alabama. With these sorts of purchases from European allies, it's easy to see the conflict has been great business for the U.S. in the military-industrial complex. And keeping in mind the State Department and Pentagon, which both supervise foreign military sales, have explored ways to fast-track those sales as global demand has surged since the conflict began. And that's only European sales. As tensions rise in the East, big Asian deals included South Korea's $5 billion F-35 order and $1.5 billion CH-47F Chinook order. And Japan has plans to buy E-2D Advanced Hawkeye airborne early warning and control aircraft worth more than $1 billion. Meanwhile, as the U.S. works to support its allies in Taiwan against continued threats from China, there is still a $19 billion backlog in U.S. arms for the country. And while the deals mentioned so far are only the government-facilitated sales, direct commercial sales between nations and defense firms themselves, which tend to be much less transparent, totaled $157.5 billion for 2023. With this amount of sales, it's clear to see why the U.S. is responsible for 40% of global arms trade. For comparison, France comes in second, nowhere near the amount of the U.S. at just 11%. As for the future, the Russia-Ukraine conflict persists with no clear resolution in sight, as diplomatic efforts falter and tensions continue to escalate. Both sides remain entrenched in their positions, prolonging the uncertainty despite international efforts to mediate. And in Asia, tensions between China and Taiwan are escalating, raising concerns about the potential for conflict with geopolitical implications that could have far-reaching consequences. As Beijing and Taipei remain steadfast in their positions, the risk of a dangerous escalation continues to mount. Global conflict often translates into increased demand for weaponry and defense equipment, which benefits the U.S. defense industry. As tensions rise and nations seek to bolster their military capabilities, American defense contractors stand to gain lucrative contracts and profits. This heightened demand for defense products further solidifies the United States' position as the dominant player in global defense markets. So as things stand, the U.S. is the dominant player in global arms trade, and given the current tensions, it seems it will only become even more dominant. What do you think? Is the dominance of the U.S. defense industry good or bad for the rest of the world? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.